the time and date and all that? Time and date.
Today's Valentine's Day.
Okay. Happy
February the
Valentine's Day.
14th, and it's about 1:03.
Okay, my name's Ronnie Baker. I'm running for Congress. I'm meeting with Rodney Bailey. We're going to talk about putting together a plan for police reform. And I wanted to meet with him first because this is where it all started with me. And let me tell you a little story, and this is going to be hard to believe, but just follow me, it all can be documented. In 1974, I grew my hair out long. And there was a guy named John Smith, and he was peeping in this girl named Vicki Brown's windows and stalking her. And me and Tim Brown went out for nickel beer one night out to the Triple H, bought $5 worth of beer, and got so drunk, we talked these girls into giving us a ride home, and Tim was so drunk, he talked them into putting us out. Long story short, we went down and rode the elevators, and they called the police because the security guard thought we were stealing stuff. Now, this was 1974. Okay, 1974, things were different. So we went in the high rise, and I was just wanting to go home because I had school the next day. I was in high school. We both were, and boys drank back then underage. This probably the average age of the people at the pub was 17. When drinking age was 18. So anyway, long story short, when we ride in the elevators, Tim pulls a rocking chair on there. They thought we were stealing stuff. Okay, we weren't. So we ended up down to Waffle House to call my mother to come get us. We were going to go over to my brother's girlfriend's house and call my mother, but what happened at the high rise got us down to the Waffle House. So we walked down the Waffle House, and Paul Reynolds, who was Tim's police officer, real nice police officer, one of Rome's greatest. He was Tim's uncle, also a distant cousin of mine. He was training John Smith. And so when Tim was a happy drunk, I was just sleepy. I didn't want to go home. And so Paul pulls up and says, Tim, have y'all been down to high rise? He said, yeah, we was down there riding elevators. He said, well, they thought there's somebody rode by in a truck. They thought y'all were stealing stuff. Get in the car. We'll go downtown. Y'all can spend the night, and we'll get you some breakfast in the morning, and we'll get it all worked out. And we opened the door, the police car, and got in the back of the car. That's the way it was back then. We wasn't slamming everybody down on the face and handcuffing them, and we got down there, and we all joked about it, and I mean, I don't know if they even locked the door. They put us in the cell, they had to, and then they fed us breakfast the next morning and let us go. Now back then, for the history of everybody, in case you don't know, we were playing this. I used to call it a game called Cops and Hippies. The way it worked is if you went out to one of the like Mountain City Inn, the police would pull up and grab everybody with long hair and throw them in the back of a paddy wagon. And if they give them any lip, they'd beat them up a little bit. But now what started with John Smith, okay, we get in the car with Paul Reynolds that night, okay? Now, it wasn't all that peaceful. I'm gonna back up a little bit. When we get in the car, Tim, we're not handcuffed. We're just sitting in the back of the car, just riding with our friend, our uncle, to the police station, who we trusted with our life. And Paul Reynolds says, Tim, what you been doing with yourself? And Tim said, oh man, don't you know I'm a demolition expert? I'm blowing shit up down at Crap. And John Smith turned around and looked at him. He said, y'all both are nothing but goddamn little fucking queers that need to have the shit beat out of you. And Tim looked at that John Smith and he said, John Smith? Paul, stop the car. Let me stomp this little fucker's ass. This guy, he's the guy. Don't you know he's the one been peeping in Vicky's windows? He's the one been stalking Vicky for 2 years. Stop the car. So, I didn't say, I'm like, I have nothing to do with this. Nothing else was said. We got to the police station. Tim calmed down. Nothing else was said. Next time, Tim and I and about probably 5 of us, I think there's 6 of us in the Volkswagen, like we did. We went down, liquor just came legal in Rome. We bought a fifth of 151. We went down to the Burger King to get some drinks to mix it with. Tim and I went in, and there was John Smith and his new partner, Wesley. And so they saw us, and we thought, well, I didn't really want to see what car, because I knew how they were back then. And so, because there was long story short, going back to refer at this, when my jury was out deliberating, 12 people got paid in my courtroom that the cops were beating up. Those skinhead cops, Greg Brock, John Smith, there's a few of them, they couldn't make the football team, at least strong, they had attitudes. Greg Brock was the fixer. He literally, the night he beat me up, he was out looking for me to beat me up. So we're back to John Smith and Tim arguing. So the next time, let's see where exactly how it ended up. I ended up in cuffs. Oh, okay. We was in the Burger King, and we went down to the Mountain City Inn. We left the Burger King, went down to the Mountain City Inn, and I'll be straight up with you. It was 1974. The other guys, I waited in the car because I don't like getting in trouble, and I could see trouble, and my mother always warned me of trouble. So I'm waiting in the car, me and David Langley, who's driving the car, and the rest of the guys went in to look for a joint. Because we was going to go out with what we did back then. We'd go out and we'd out away from everybody, and we'd drink and we'd get stoned and leave everybody alone and get up next day and do it all over again. So I'm sitting in the car, and John Smith comes up and opens the door and says, "Get out of the car." I'm gonna make these stories short. Long story short, I'm not getting out. I end up in the back of the car. And David Langley ended up in the back of the car because Wesley thought he was Tim. They were looking for Tim. And so, the whole idea, they were going to beat me and Tim up. But Tim never got beat up. Tim never he got away every time. So we were on our way to the police station, and they pull over behind the Crystal, and what they get me out behind that's the road that cuts behind here. So and Wesley holds me behind, I'm handcuffed behind my back. And I kid you not, I'm not a badass. I don't claim to be. I don't know anything about fighting. But John Smith, I figured out he was trying to knock the breath out of me, and I had to fake it. I thought, I'm going to be here all night, and I got to go to school tomorrow. So I went down and I said, "Oh, you're killing me. He said, "Well, tell Tim he's got an ass whipping coming." The next time I saw John Smith, we were behind the baseball field, and I was drunk. I was 16 years old, and I was drunk. And I shouldn't have been out there. I shouldn't have been drunk, but that's the deal. And Tim got away running. I'm going to keep this story short. I was drunk. John Smith had beat me up, a child. 16, they held me up, and I knew what was going on, and so, but I played football. I played football, and I was really good at football, and I could run really fast, and I could, I had skills. So, long story short, it took 4 cops to put me in the drunk tank as I spit, and every time John Smith would hit me, I would spit on him and call him a pussy and say, "You hit like a girl." And so the night that when Ray, you'll know all the story about the night I got beat up. I got a deposition from the beginning on, so I won't bore you with those details. But they were looking for me, and you'll hear the rest of the story. So here we are. Okay, now, Mother was sure they were going to kill me. I had a yellow Cutlass Supreme, 1970, Rally 350. There was only 2 in town. They only made 2,000. It glowed in the dark. That's the last thing somebody trying to keep a low profile needed. So I couldn't get out without the police following me. I was in a band, the band Blaze in high school. And so the bass player, Chip Williams, rode with me all day one day. The police followed me, and I said, "I got to go home. I can't do this." I dropped him off. Guys I go to school with across the street, watch the police. As soon as I pulled out, they arrest me, take me to jail, and charge me with 55 and 35. I'm not going to bore you with the details on this one too, but I also got a DUI that I wasn't drinking in, ended up with a black eye. And now, when all this happened, I had attorneys all over Georgia calling wanting my case because there was already a bunch of people. You might have heard of the Penny guy that was in a coma, and his wife finally pulled the plug, and he just died. They didn't literally kill somebody, but they beat him up so unconscious he's supposed to have fallen in the drunk. Anyway, won't bore you with the details. So, long story short, I'm not going to bore you with these details, but let me just tell you this one story. I get a subpoena. I'd been to that DUI twice, hung jury. I told Bob, let me get them to cost them money, appoint me an attorney, maybe they'll leave me alone. 2 hung juries. Okay, so I got a subpoena. He assured me that DUI wasn't on there. I said, I'm not, because I had a hung jury the first time. It's about in the middle. It was 11-1 last time. I said, I'm not going to jail for a year. That's not what I'm in for. And Mother was afraid that they were going to put me in jail and kill me. And so, at this point, I'm still 16. So I go to court this day. I got hair down here. I got a Coosa jacket on, and everybody, I don't know if it's like this anymore, but everybody was in that room. The jurors were all in that room, and they called my name for speeding. I said, "I'm here, and I would like to I'm not working, I don't have any income, and I'd like to have representation." They said, "Sit down." And they called my name again, and I shit you not. Lanier stood up and said, "Your Honor, this is the case where Mr. Baker and the Brewer kid beat up the 2 police officers real bad. And their attorneys, Bob Fennell, he's asked for a continuance. We're okay with that." He said, okay. So I'm like, is that my jury over there in the room? Just heard that? Then they called my name again, and I said, why are you calling my name again? That's all the numbers. I got this thing right here. That's all the numbers. I don't know what these numbers are, but according to Bob Fennell, DUI's not on here. They said, Mr. Baker, come take the stand. They put me on the stand. They marched every juror in there. Out in front of me, looked at me like, you little stupid, long-haired hippie son of a bitch. We need to beat shit out of you. He says, yeah, that's the way it was back then, hippies. And, you know. So I went to jail for 18 months to serve in the county jail. Went up there for a speeding ticket. Okay, mother took $1,000 and cried in Bob's office for about 2 hours, and they agreed that my shit was going to be packed, and I was leaving town when they let me out, and they packed me up, and I moved to Atlanta, and I came back in '80 to go to court. And when I went to court, when I show up to go to court, I said, Bob, where is all my witnesses? You know, those guys that saw me get handcuffed. I'm going to show you a deposition. Handcuffed. That's my thing. I said, they're not here. And then he said, okay, they got 3 attorneys. You got 1. So if you see something I don't, let me know. You know how juries are struck. I think it was a 5-person jury. They sent the alternate home. You kept 5. The girl they sent home, by the way, was Carolyn Bowen. And the girl that King Askew had just handled her divorce was named Dottie Selman. It was Selman. She had both names. And so he had just handled her divorce, and he lied to everybody and said he'd never heard of the girl. And then Bob, when I tried to strike her, you know, I knew she was a cop because I was paying attention. And he wouldn't let, he said, if you see anybody, if you want to strike them, you can strike them. And I stood up to strike her. He said, you better not. You better not. I remember I will never forget what he was wearing, Bailey, with Rodney. He had he's about 29 years old. He wanted to be a congressman. He had high hopes. He had his hands like this. He had on the yellow Izod. He had on sandals, brown sandals, and khaki shorts. And he said, boy, go ahead, take your time.
Hey. Yeah, what time to start? Okay, I'll be there. All right. We got about 5 minutes.
Okay, so that's in other words, it was a bad thing, and that's the reason I'm doing this, and all this is documented. And okay, I think that this is not my plan. I think this is God's plan. I think I'm just a vessel. I think that Marjorie Taylor Greene has given us a gift. She has brought world recognition to our doorstep, and we can use it to fix this problem, this divide in this country. And I've got a plan. I own powerlifting federations in a varying 40 to 60 countries. When you compete in powerlifting, you're competing against your own total. Even though I'm competing against a guy from Ukraine and Russia, we got meets this year that there will be 50 people there from Ukraine and 50 people there for Russia. It'll be a good time. A lot of diplomacy is almost everything I know about the United States and policing, I learned from cops in other countries. They pay attention, and they don't allow their media to lie to them in most countries. So anyway, what I think that the best, I'm just going to give you a quick rundown, but I want you Bailey, and Chief of Police Dave Robertson, I want y'all to help me put this plan together. I want you to love it so much that you will, I don't care who you vote for. I don't want to be a damn senator or a congressman. I just want to fix this problem. I promise you. You know, if I get elected, I have to go to work. I don't want to. All I want to do the rest of my life is, you know, as soon as this thing is over, I've got a music show put together, and I've got shows booked in Florida. Play in a cafe at night and hang out during the day. I've got enough money to last me the rest of my life. That's what I want you, if you would, are you interested in helping me?
No, I'm not. Let me tell you why, Mr.
Okay.
Baker. In police work, we are actually by our oath and by our policy.
Yeah, you take an oath
by
to
our
the
policy,
Constitution.
We can't show. We don't weigh in any political.
Okay,
difference.
now
We
I
have to
agree
be
with
bipartisan.
I agree with that, and I want you to be. And,
And I know
and
the
like I
chief
said,
did the
I
same
don't.
thing,
Like
too.
I said, I don't care if you vote for me.
Right,
What I'm interested in you as a citizen,
Right.
not as a politician, is do you help me put what you think is a good program, that a police plan that has, you know, outside of the politics,
Mm-hmm.
and then, you know, present it. And if Wendy Davis wants to present that same program, that's fine.
Honestly, I'm just going to be very candid because you're obviously candid with me.
Yes, sir.
I've been doing this for almost 30 years.
Yeah.
I've worked in this department, which is both state accredited
Right.
and nationally accredited.
Yep.
I feel like we're following a set of standards that I'm completely on board
I haven't
with.
seen any bad stuff from here.
And I don't feel like that we have within my arena,
Mhm.
there's always opportunity to improve anything. I get that.
I know where you're going,
As
and I
far
agree
as
100%.
reforming, I think we have been reforming for years.
No doubt, no doubt. I have
From the
seen
days
that.
you're talking about
I have seen
until
that.
now.
Now, since y'all robbed my house in 18, right? Because y'all did.
We didn't rob
my
your house.
Yes, you
Nate.
did. Yes,
No,
you
we
did.
didn't do that.
Bailey.
You even said you thought your girlfriend done it.
No, I didn't have a girl. I didn't have a girlfriend. I hadn't had a girlfriend. I haven't. That
You
girl.
said the person living with you done it, then you said.
No, I
you done
didn't.
it.
I never said.
You don't know who done it.
You know what? The conversation's over.